Back to my YouTube channel. So we would be continuing discussing our top interview 150 series of questions on Leetcode, and today we are going to discuss question which is game of life. So let's see what this question states. So this question states that according to Wikipedia's article, the game of life, also known as simply as life, is a cellular automaton devised by the British mathematician John Horton Conway in 1970. So basically, the board is made up of M cross and grid of cells, and where each cell has an initial state, live, that is 1, or dead, that is 0. And each cell interacts with its 8 neighbors. Any live cell with fewer than 2 live neighbors dies. Any live cell with 2 or 3 live neighbors lives, and any live cell with more than 3 live neighbors dies. So any live cell which is 1, if it has 2 or 3 live neighbors, then it lives, otherwise it dies. Any dead cell, if it has exactly 3 live neighbors, then it lives, otherwise it remains in the dead state. The next state of the board is determined by applying the above rules simultaneously to every cell in the current state. In this process, births and deaths occur simultaneously. Given the current state of the board, update the board to reflect its next state. Note that you do not need to return anything. So this is the board given, and if we see how this output we are getting, so for this 0, so for 1 to remain 1, it should have either 2 or 3 live neighbors, otherwise 1 will become 0. And for 0 to become 1, it should have 3 live neighbors, otherwise it will remain 0. So here this 0 has just 1, so it will remain 0. This 1 has just 1, so it will become 0. This 0 has 2. If it would have been 3, then it would become 1, but it will remain 0. Here this 0, it has 3, so this will become 1. Then this 0, this has 1 2 3 5, so this will remain 0. Then this 1 has 3 neighbors, so it will remain 1. Then this 1 has just 1 neighbor, so it will become 0. Then this 1 has 3 neighbors, so it will remain 1. And this 1 has 2 neighbors, so this will remain 1. Similarly, this line will also be updated, and similarly this example will also work. So this is the question. I hope you have understood the explanation to this question. So let's see how we are going to solve this. So in order to solve this, one easy approach is to create another grid of the same size, and then we can in that grid we can have the number of live neighbors for each of the cell, and then on the basis of that we can decide. That is a easy approach, but there is one more approach by which we don't need to build another grid, and we can do it in place, like in the same matrix only we can get our final answer. So what we would be doing is, suppose if 0 wants to become 1, then we will change it to 2. And if 1 wants to become 0, then we'll change it to -1, because -1 will indicate that it has come from one state, so we can count our live neighbors. And then finally in our answer we will update those 2's to 1, and and we will update our -1's to 1, sorry, -1 to 0. So let's see the code, and then you will able to understand how we are going to solve this question. So we have defined n as the board dot size and m as the board 0 dot size. So this is the number of rows and number of columns, and live n is initially 0, and then we will run our loop, and for each iteration of the loop we will count the number of live neighbors. So first we are checking this upper neighbor. So this will be like we are checking the values if it is equals to 1 or if it is equals to -1, because -1 means that earlier it was 1, now it has become -1. So then we will increment our live and count. Similarly, we will check all the 8 neighbors, and we will basically increment our live and plus count. And then finally we will check if the board value was 1, and if the live n is not equal to 2 or 3, means now it should become 0. So we would update the board to -1. So it is also written here that earlier it was 1, its final value will be 0. Otherwise, if board ij was 0, then if live of n is equals to 3, then we will update the board ij to 2. And it shows that earlier it was 0, its final value will be 1. Then finally we'll update these values, board of ij, if this value equals to 2, then we'll update it to 1, and if its value is -1, then we will update it to 0. So by this we don't need to require any extra space, and we can do it in place inside the matrix. So this is the code, and this will have time complexity of O of m into n, where m is the number of rows and n is the number of columns, and space complexity would be O of 1, because we are not using any extra space. We are just using the space which is given to us. So yeah, this is the explanation, and I hope you have understood the explanation. I will attach this question link in the description of the video, and I will also attach this code solution in the comment section of the video. So like this video, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned for more such videos on top interview 150 series of questions. We are covering all the questions in this series, because these are the questions which are generally asked in uh, interview rounds of companies. So yeah, stay tuned, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, have a nice day.